Welcome to Let's Talk. I'm your host, Cass McGowan. We're here at the Sportsplex at Sinclair College to talk about mathematics today. We have all these students here to discuss mathematics, the transition and the study of mathematics in the elementary and high school years. Why? Because in our province, the Ministry of Education is telling us that the mathematics is something that we need to get better at. We're here today to talk about, are we as good as we could be, and if not, why not? And what are the experiences of young people in their elementary school years and in the high school. So to start us off, we have our guests today that I'd like you to welcome after I finish introducing them. We have David Petro, who's a math consultant at the Windsor-Essex County School Board. We have Dr. Andrew Allen from the Faculty of Education, and we have Corey Pine from Sinclair College. All people, and let's introduce our guests today and thank them for being here, everybody. So, David, you're responsible, I suppose, from kindergarten right through to high school in terms of overseeing the math program at your board. What's the perception of math? Are we really at risk in terms of achieving our maximum level, or what are the issues as you see it?
Well, we can certainly always get better at how we approach mathematics. We have some unique problems now that we never had before, in that if we took the traditional math curriculum and presented it in the way that we've always done, we're not necessarily preparing our students for the world that we live in. The mere fact that they walk into our classes with the sum total of all knowledge available to them in their pockets means we do have to change some of the things that we do. We also have to look at more than just math seen as a bunch of algorithms that we have to memorize. That did well in the past, but it's not suiting what our students will need to do when they leave our schools in the future. They need to be better problem solvers, and we need to be able to give them those experiences to be better problem solvers.
Okay. And Andrew, you're teaching at the Faculty of Education, and Andrew's background, he's an aeronautical engineer. He didn't always have success in math, just like he doesn't have success in the golf course, but that's okay. But Andrew, from a teaching perspective, what are the issues as you see these students coming to be our next generation of teachers? What's the perception of math?
Yeah, I agree. In the past, we relied on algorithm and following procedures. And as a student, I was a good student because I had a good memory and I could memorize in a short term and do it on a test and forget in 15 minutes. But what we need now is for students to understand the concepts and to move away from just procedural knowledge to also acquiring conceptual knowledge. Mm-hmm. And I find that I teach beginning teacher candidates in the Faculty of Ed. I teach the primary junior math, and the fear and anxieties that they bring with them. And part of my job is to get them to change their relationship with math. We've mystified math and presented math to kids in elementary school and high school as this abstract concept, but math is really a way of representing the world and understanding the world, and it should be based in practical experiences.
Okay, and Corey, you're coming from the Sinclair perspective in terms of the student who's finished high school. What do you must see a lot of differences in terms of their academic levels, and how does that make it difficult or not so difficult for placing the students in appropriate placements and so on?
Well, one of the hallmarks of being a community college is that we have students who come right through. They went all the way through elementary school, secondary school, and they're in college. We have some that maybe they need upgrading, or we also have mature students, adult learners who are coming back to school from not being in school for 20 years. And in that pathway that they've come along, they have developed a gap in their math education somewhere. And what we find very frequently is that some concept that is very important because we need to apply it to something that's happening in the industry that they want to go to work into, it's a concept that was developed and is thought to have been learned way back when in elementary school. Perhaps it's grade 4, grade 5, grade 6, and for whatever reason, maybe it was not well developed, maybe it was just simply forgotten, or maybe in between it just lost relevance, and now they come and they're adults and they struggle with those concepts which perhaps their own children can actually do better and teach them how to use. So we have a gap issue that we see, but the bigger issue is that no one has the exact same gap.
Okay. So we're talking about the elementary experience, the high school experience, and how it progresses into college in terms of what Corey sees. Gabriella, you're from Mount Carmel, and you like math, right?
Yes.
So tell us what life has been like for you in terms of math at the grade school.
So personally, math is my favorite subject. I'm very strong in math, and I have very high grades in math, and I hope to keep it that way through high school in the academic level. The differences from the primary math from grades 1 to 3 and now is from those grades, it was very hands-on, and there was a lot of manipulatives and group work and centers that we used to do. And as we're getting older, the teachers are really teaching us and preparing us more application questions and thinking questions and knowledge questions that we need to learn for high school and problem solvings out in the real world or in our daily situations.
Okay. And Andrew, just a quick response to that. Application and problem solving is where it's at, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And getting students to be hands-on. What I find teachers are asking me, at what level do we stop using manipulatives or stop having students be actively engaged? And I say up to the PhD level. I have my adult students working with manipulatives too. So finding ways of applying the math concepts and making a connection for students is very important.
So is it true that you struggled in math?
I did.
You have to tell the truth here now.
Well, I saw math as a necessary evil, and it was a means to an end, and so I just did it. I didn't have a passion for it. So when I hear people saying I love math, I didn't necessarily love math. I did it because I had the option of doing it or death, as my father would threaten me. But so I did it out of obligation, and for me it was memory work, and I could memorize in the short term. And I fell in love with math as a teacher of math when I realized that math was about patterns and relationships and math, and I was starting to make those connections as a teacher. So what we need to do is to instill the kind of love that you're talking about.
So Natasha, you love math too, right?
Yeah,
You're part of your math club at Mount Carmel?
that's right.
Okay, tell us why you enjoy math.
Because math is like a subject that, unlike some other subjects, it's something we will encounter in like our everyday lives. There will always be situations where we'll have to, apply those numeracy skills that we learned. And like no matter what field you go into. So I joined the Mathletes team because in our class we'll have, a class of students of all abilities. In high school, you have your academic, applied, and locally developed classes. In elementary school, you'll have a class that's a mix of all three. And we don't really get much of like an advanced challenge. So kind of being on the math team gives us a chance to like explore like different concepts and, move ahead if you're advanced and you want to do that.
And I picked on Michael today because when I went to your school the other day, Michael, what did you tell me you didn't like?
I had an issue with geometry.
And what else were you not ready for?
I didn't have something to talk about.
That's right. You didn't have nothing to talk about. I couldn't understand that. But I'm teasing. You do love math, though, right?
I do.
Tell us.
Well, I like math because it's a lot of fun to learn about the new concepts and explore different things in math and see the different relationships that different numbers have that you have to go looking to find. And I think it gives me a peace of mind to do things with numbers rather than shapes because I've always had an issue with shapes.
I notice your shirt is full of shapes too, right?
It is. I had to wear it today.
You did that purposely, right?
I did.
Okay. So what are you going to do about your lack of geometry? How is that going to work out?
Well, I think the best thing for me to do is to keep working at it and not to give up. And I think another thing that's very important is when I need help, I have to ask for it because a lot of people are afraid to ask for help when they need it. And I think that's a big issue in math today.
Okay, thank you so much. And Alpay, you originated your education in Michigan, right?
Yes.
Was that different in here, or did they apply it in a different way?
They really didn't apply it as much. I mean, it was pretty much the same as right now. The only difference I really remember is they put a lot more emphasis on like learning things much quicker than here. Here it was like, I remember when I came here in grade 4 halfway, it was a lot of the same stuff I had learned the year before, so it came really quickly to me.
Mm-hmm. So do you actually think, having stayed here, that Michigan people are much superior than we are? Or be careful what you say.
I wouldn't say they're superior. I'd probably say they learn things much quicker than we do.
Okay. What is your greatest love of math? Any particular area? Or?
Probably data management.
Data management. So you're already proceeding into the world of computers, right?
Yes.
Oh, good for you. Okay, we have a friend over here at the behind Michael there. This young man is Dr. Ken Montgomery. He's the new dean of the Faculty of Education. He didn't know I was going to ask him a question, but that's the way life is running. It's delightful to see you here, sir.
Thanks, Cassie.
How do you see the mathematical issue from a provincial point of view? Are we behind?
Well, certainly the Ministry of Education suggests that we are, but I'm also hearing something similar from school boards, that there's more that we can do. From my perspective as Dean of the Faculty of Education, I think perhaps there's something more that we can do to enhance the confidence of young teachers entering into the classroom. I think back to my experience. I loved math until I was thrown into the classroom as a math teacher without any math background. And I think that is probably part of what's going on here now. So I think we need to work on some programming in teacher education programs that fosters a great deal of confidence for our young people who are going into schools. And I think that will help.
Yes, and some people around here should help with the problem, right?
Oh, he's signed up already for everything.
I have a young lady here from the Faculty of Ed, Arisia. Have I got it right?
Yeah.
All right. So you're now going to be teaching math. Does that pose concern for you? Are you ready for it, the challenge?
I feel after the 2 years of being in the FACAD, I have more confidence in it, because in elementary school, I had it drilled in like just to memorize all the algorithms and all the formulas, but I never really understood what they meant. I just knew my multiplication tables. I just knew them off by heart. But now from here, like in Dr. Allen's class, we learned about the conceptual knowledge of it. So now when I'm in my classrooms, I'm actually teaching that. I'm seeing the difference in my students, how they're actually understanding it, all the different ways I'm teaching. Like some students like minds on, some rather just write it out. So doing all that stuff, I find myself getting more confident as they're getting confident doing it. So it's a beneficial thing.
Okay. And we have a young man here from mainland China, and Keiyang is in St. Clair College. And how long have you been here?
I come here 3 years ago when I saw this program.
Okay. And I always ask him the question, I met him a couple of days ago, and the first question, and I'll repeat it, is tell everybody your typical day at school in China.
So when I was at high school, we start school at 5 in the morning. And
5 in the morning, everybody. Listen. The principal is going to invite you guys to get up early tomorrow morning.
Yeah, and we done at 9 p.m. at night.
9 p.m. at night, folks.
Yeah, every day we just start.
Who wants to move to China? I'm just asking a question. Go ahead.
Yeah, the teacher makes a very tight schedule. We have different subjects. The first year of high school, we have 9 subjects: Chinese, English, mathematics, biology, chemistry, physics, whatever. And the second year, we have 6 subjects. You just choose physics, chemistry, biology, or the other 3 with Chinese, English, and math. So that's from second year. And the schedule is the same, the time is the same, just different subject, and you can have more time spent on whatever you like. And yeah.
So you went to St. Clair because?
I'm studying here because I'm an international student, so I come to college first because the tuition fee here, it's for international students, is over 3 times than the Canadian. And the university is 4 years, so my first choice is to come to college, and I really love math, and I want to study, I want to learn. That's why I take extra math here, calculus, linear algebra, and I hope one day I can went to university after I finish college. And the other thing is I can strengthen my English here. Math is a common language. Maybe English and Chinese are different, but math, physics are always the same. 1 + 1 is always 2, no matter where you are. And the other thing is maybe college, I think I just want to experience more culture here. I'm international student, and I want to study not the knowledge, but the culture here. So I want to start from the basic and go up.
Okay, thank you. David, is there anything we can learn from other cultures that would maybe improve our perspective towards math?
I think that there's no end to what we can learn from other cultures, because that always gives us another perspective. I mean, one thing that I've found over time is, in North America, one thing that we seem to be focused on is trying to get the answer, and in other cultures, what seems to be more important is how that journey in getting the answer is the most important. And that comes back to the idea of problem solving. It's not about the answer, it's about how you got the answer. And so the more that we can focus on that journey of getting the answer, and less about whether the answer is right or wrong to begin with, the more we can encourage our students to solve problems when they deal with things that are more difficult than they would have expected.
Is that a culture you're at Kennedy now, and you told us that Grace, you were very successful up to about grade 10?
Grade 12.
Grade 12, oh, grade 12, beg your pardon.
I found that different teachers have different learning styles. So once I went from like grade 9 to 10 to 11, they all taught differently and they all went at different paces. So like in grade 9, we were pretty slow because it was brand new stuff. So I was always ahead, and like I would really teach myself like ahead, and that was the same for grade 10. And then grade 11, it was the exact same. And then grade 12, my teacher went at a lot faster pace than I originally have taught myself how to go. So when my teacher was going very fast, I was slacking behind, and I realized every year it came really easy to me. And then in grade 12, I didn't work for it, and that was my mistake. And I should have really worked for it, because then I know I could have done better than I actually did. But since I slacked, math has always come easy to me. But I guess I didn't realize that I'd actually have to try one day for it, and so I made the mistake of not trying too hard.
And that would impact you when you go to university, because you won't just fly by the work at university. You are going to have to work for it.
Yeah, I know. I have calculus this semester, and I'm really putting my work into it. Like, I'm trying very hard, so I'm hoping if I can keep up the same work ethic, then I'll be okay first year.
Okay, thank you. And Aleem, you're from Kennedy too. What's your experience been?
Well, I'm an immigrant, so...
You got to speak up a little bit.
Sorry.
Yep.
So I'm an immigrant, so I wasn't born here. I'm not used to this system, right? But it wasn't that hard when I came, first time I came. But later, I came here in grade 4, and up to grade 8, it was really easy. I flew by it. But then I had some family issues, so in grade 8 I did really bad, and then I went to high school in grade 9, and I was doing poorly. One day I went for help to my math teacher, who has a PhD in math, and he really inspired me by once he taught me the concept of algebra, which I wasn't understanding. I was ahead now, and this really also developed a skill of problem solving, which I got addicted to later, and now you
got addicted to
problem solving, right? Well, I don't know why. I just really like it. I feel like I'm a logical person.
Math,
I know, but I feel like I'm a logical person now because of it.
Okay.
So that further motivated me to take this in my academic career throughout my 4 years, and now it has opened my doors such as medical and engineering. So all I can say is I suggest people to take math.
You're also saying that the teacher made the difference, right?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, I don't think we emphasize that enough, Andrew. The teacher making the difference.
Oh, absolutely. And we were talking earlier about teachers' own comfort level with the math, and they have to be comfortable with the math to be able to teach it. And so sometimes as teachers, as parents, we pass on our own fears about math. And again, math is one of the few things that we say in life that I'm not good at math or I hate math, but I'm a functioning adult. And so if the influence of the teacher, if the teacher loves it and is passionate about it, I think that's what you got caught onto.
Okay. So David, you're a faculty at the Faculty of Ed. You're in your second year and you're still smiling. That's really good.
I'm going to be bringing some of that passion and energy and enthusiasm.
Oh, this young man teaches you, does he?
He does. He is my professor.
Okay. Tell us your story then about math. How are you being prepared to teach?
So my story of being a mature student coming into the faculty, now going into teaching it. When I was a child, it was very student-driven.
It's a long time ago, David.
Yes, it was. Sorry, it was more teacher-centered, the class. Things have changed where it's more student-focused now, manipulatives, doing, learning through doing. So I'm learning the way it's taught, but I still see that kids are struggling. So it is important that that the environment is created in the classroom by the teacher, where he enjoys the topic, he understands it, he's competent, and then that's transferred over to the students to give their best effort. And so that holistic a part of our lifestyle is a factor also into some of the scores that we see in EQAOs. And so I'm going to bring that passion and excitement so that they all give their best.
Okay. So if you fail, we can always go back to where you started, right? Is that going right over your head? Like, do you notice the connection?
I think at some point we have to take the onus on ourselves as well as professionals and as teachers.
I'm going to pass that over. There's a principal in the far corner. She didn't think I was going to ask a question. But you're the principal of Mount Carmel. This whole issue of math, how does it manifest itself in your role as principal over at Mount Carmel? Because we're also interested in the students that find it difficult.
Yes. Again, it's fostering that culture of a positive mindset that everybody can do mathematics. It's Dr. Allen, is that correct? Yeah. There is that mindset that I'm not good at math. Some students are good and some aren't. And we want to shatter that mindset. We want to make every student believe that they can do mathematics. And sometimes it's just a matter of persevering. And students have to realize that it's okay to struggle through mathematics. Struggling through mathematics is probably the most important part of learning, because when you struggle, you learn. And it's true about teachers. A lot of teachers aren't comfortable teaching mathematics. I taught pretty well mathematics. I taught grade 8 pretty well my whole career before I got into administration. And I loved mathematics. I was very passionate about it. And I passed that on to students as well. And wanted them to feel comfortable with doing math. And it's okay to make mistakes. And as some of our students here, it's okay to ask for help. That's all part of the learning.
Thank you so much. Yep. Saif, I know there's only a short time left, but the main reason we're here is because you believe that we need to be more aware of our math and our potential, that everybody has more potential, and sometimes we get them. When you hear this conversation today, it does give you a sign of hope, right?
Yep, absolutely. And I'll piggyback on what Principal just said, is that we make decisions and label kids very early on and say, you're not for math, math is not for you, and math is for you. And then we give up on the students who we believe the math is not for them. And we don't have this passion and this understanding that math is math. 2 plus 2 is 4. It's not like 3 is okay. 2 plus is 4. So it's a concept. It's not the memorization. And the kid or the student may have not understood the concept. So we need to take time to make him understand before we give up on him. So what we're doing is that we're giving up on the students that we believe the math is not for them, and then we're working more with the students who we believe that math is for them. And then so they get better, and the kids we just left because we thought that they're not good at the math and they didn't work better. So I believe that we need to have a system where you identify the gaps and try to identify the learning abilities and bridge with some of the remedial programs so that you can bring those kids that you believe they're not good at maths to that level.
Okay, and Dr. Saif, I know you're here as Dean of Engineering, and this is not the specific reason you're here, is another program we're going to, but there is a message here. I'm hearing really good things and understanding from young people. How do we keep that going among more people, more students, and give them hope? Like you say, math is something that everybody's capable of doing better at.
Absolutely. I mean, I think the issue is a very complex issue. It has cultural, economics, social aspects to it. It's not just the ability. I think ability of students in North America, they are just as capable as the students in Asia and elsewhere. But I think the mindset, one of the things is role models. You have athlete role models, you have entertainer role models, whereas we don't necessarily have enough of those to motivate the students, to pursue math. And again, we tend to pigeonhole people early on, and that is something we should get away from, I think.
So David, you're every day in the classrooms. You see it, like I told you, at kindergarten. If you had that magic wand, what kind of things would you, I always ask them the difficult questions, right? What would you do? We want to see you earn your money, right?
Sure.
Right.
I mean, in terms of teaching, teaching is an art. The difficult part of teaching is, what do you do? It's fine when you teach a concept and the kids get it, but the real teaching comes in when you teach a concept and the students don't get it. Then what do you do? That's where it really comes in. And I think, and it was mentioned earlier, this idea of giving students opportunity to make mistakes and to understand that that is an integral part of learning. I think if I could get that message out, that that is part of it. The process is we don't learn without making mistakes, and that should be embraced.
Mm-hmm. Corey, that transition from elementary to high school to college, what are the things we need to improve on?
Well, the one thing I would like to see as an improvement is the end of the dichotomy of your being a college track or applied track student versus a academic or university track student. One ought to be the best math student one is, and wherever you end up, you should be ending up at college or university because that's where your career is taking you, not that's where someone has told you your math skills should take you. We have students who say they're not really strong in math, so they're going to go into a program where they don't think there's math, and they get very surprised when there is math when they do come up here. And also we have other students who are really, really good at math, and they decide they're going to go to the university, and maybe the workload